Woo!
The people of Dublin were in a state of poverty, really, because there were lots of big houses in this area, but at the same time the houses had been abandoned by their British landlord owners and were then rented out to the poor people of Dublin, with as many as 40 to 50 people in one house. The wages for an average worker was around 15 shillings a week. Now that was if a guy could get work. And out of that he had to pay rent of 5 shillings a week, and we were a family of 10 or 12 children on that. So really, poverty was fairly endemic because those who weren't employed had no dole, and as such they were basically depending on the goodwill of their friends and neighbours to keep them in food. So there was a great need then for some form of food relief for people like that. And it was from that the whole concept of the penny dinners began, not only in Dublin but also in Cork and in Waterford. And the whole principle behind penny dinners was that it was a charity, but at the same time those who partook of the food were expected to contribute a penny towards the dinner. So consequently they were not accepting charity because they actually paid for the dinner. But at the same time, if people did not have the penny, there was no problem about that at all, and they were just quietly fed in the same way as anybody else. It required a fair amount of money to set it up, and this is where the actual people who lived in this area came to the fore. They contributed a penny a week to get it started. My grandmother and grandfather lived about 100 yards from where I'm sitting now, and they would have been one of the people contributing a penny a week towards the setting up of this charity. So the charity began as a big hall where people who were poor, people who were hungry, could come and have a dinner for a penny. Quite a number of English charities came into Ireland to help the poor people, but there was great suspicion around them because A, they were English, and B, they were more than likely Protestant. They were the days when it was very important that people kept the Catholic faith, and the Protestant faith was seen as something very, very alien. And so there was a kind of religious war going on. So with the result that some of the Protestant charities were in fact giving out food to people, but people were rather not going there, or were putting an effort not to go there. And that was another, I suppose, one of the reasons why the Little Flower got set up as a Catholic charity. Well, the book came about through a board meeting back about 2 years ago, about the year 2010, when it was mentioned that the Guild was 100 years in existence. So there was a reaction of, well, what shall we do? And I was the one person on the board who sort of said, well, let's do something about bringing out a book. And that, of course, once I said that became my job. But what's interesting is that normally when you research a book, you go into archive material, you go to old newspapers and so on. And in the case of the Little Flower, it was very difficult to find information, because there was, if you look back at the origins in 1912, with the Little Flower, with any charity in Ireland particularly, charity was done very discreetly. So it wasn't announced, it wasn't written up, it was even done almost underhand, and therefore there were no records as such. And it was difficult indeed, other than the fact that each year the parish priest would always make an appeal on radio, and the old radio stations were only got underway back in the 1920s, and it was a question of going back over some radio scripts. And then over the years, the people in the Little Flower have taken photographs of the clients. So really the book is a combination of archive material from the Dublin Diocese, indeed some lovely photographs from the Royal Society of Antiquaries of the area also, and then some information from the archives and reminiscence of some people who still remember the place back in the 1930s and the 1940s. Now this year in 2012, the Little Flower is in existence for 100 years, still going strong, mainly with the support of the people of Meath Street, the volunteers who come to help. But at the same time, there's a great faith there, and the people who run the Little Flower have this faith in Saint Therese, the Little Flower, that she will continue to take care and to let fall a shower of roses, which is one of our phrases, and we hope that shower of roses contains some money as well.